Hello again. I mentioned a little earlier that I wanted to go over some homework assignments with you, and I think the best place for them is your sketchbook, at least the drawing part of the sketchbook. There's sort of three components of your homework, and I want us to do them every week, these three things, because I think it will be helpful in training us to start both to train our hand and our eyes to work together, to train our mind to come up with ideas, and to train our eyes, our sort of observational skills, to start looking for colors we like out in the world, everywhere we go. You might find combinations of colors you like very close, like you might turn your head slightly and find something that you really like. You want to kind of start noticing those things and taking photos of them and sort of saving a little folio of those kinds of colors that you like, or color combinations that appeal to you. So I have some sketchbooks, and I had said before it doesn't really matter what size. I like this kind of medium-sized sketchbook, but I brought a few over because I think that, and I don't have any here that have the cover on it. But when you get a sketchbook, it has a very ugly cover on it with something in big letters that says sketchbook, or even worse, it's got a reproduction of someone else's drawing on the front. And I just think as visual artists, we can't have that. You need to make your sketchbook kind of your own. Now, if you don't have time for that, fine. Don't bother with it or rip the cover off. But if you do have time, I just pick up scraps of stuff I like and tape it to the back sometimes too. Just glue it right down on here like this is a stamp. There's another one, just to cover up everything that is sort of advertising on the front. This one I did a little bit on the back. This one I'm not super happy with, but I had these weird little punched out pieces of paper and I wanted to save them. I'm a big saver of things that I don't know what to do with. If you have some things you don't know what to do with, glue them onto your sketchbook. Okay, so let's start. What I want to do here by just training your hand and your eyes to work together is just to practice over and over, kind of the same things. And I don't need you to spend forever on this, but I do kind of want the whole page filled with it. And I think I described a couple of different ways you might fill your page, right, with lines. The easiest, and this is a way that trains you pretty well, is to just sort of stick parallel lines on here. Now don't worry about how close they are or how far apart they are. You want to try to make them as even as you can, but since you're not making a finished product here, you're training yourself, you're practicing a muscle skill, right? So it doesn't matter if they don't come out right? Mine are really wobbly. But you want to try to get them the same amount apart each time you lay one down, right? This is a kind of a little physical meditation in a way. And you just start them here and drag them all the way over. One thing that isn't going to work is if you put your hand, which is what we do when we're writing, if you rest your hand, this part of your hand, on the paper, you can only get that much. Like that's it, right? You need to get your wrist and your arm kind of into the line. So keep your hand a little bit above the paper, or at least touching it lightly enough that it can move, okay? One of the differences between writing words and drawing is that your hand is not in contact with the paper. And of course it's not a drawing class, but we are going to talk about making things, and you're going to want to practice your hand skills. So if you get tired of putting them on this way, you could put them down the other way, or even cross them right over. Even longer, which is even better because it's kind of harder. And ideally you'd be kind of not talking away like I am, but kind of just focusing on this one project. You do not have to use a pencil. You could use a pen. It doesn't matter. Okay. You don't have to put parallel straight lines either. They could go like this. It's important that you try to get something that you're repeating over and over. Otherwise, you're not practicing it as much as you might want to. Which is why I said don't just doodle mindlessly. Like it shouldn't just be da 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 da. Although that's useful. I mean, that would be actually helpful. But don't do that. Do it like this. I shouldn't show you what not to do. The other thing, you know, after the weeks go on, you're going to say, boy, I'm really tired of parallel lines. Or maybe you're going to say that right away. So it's fine to make some other kind of repeated shapes. Try to make them the same distance apart, the same size, and try to come back to sort of the same end point. Ooh, look at that squashed one. And then you're welcome to overlap them as well. And you can vary the size of these too. You don't want to go from kind of automatic pencil practice into, oh, I'm making a drawing of a little kitty or a piggy. You don't want to do that. Just stick with, try not to make a picture out of it, if you know the difference. Although if you've got an idea after doing this for making a picture, then sure, put it over here on this side. Okay. That is really all you're meant to do with this. It's just as easy as it sounded, although to write about it, to say, to explain, to make a page full of pencil marks that are similar or identical or as close as you can get them is not as easy as just to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, that's all.